So we got some stud pitchers on the menu this evening, with Corbin Burnes being the most expensive option. He's at 10-6. However, just a few guys down the list. Cardinals, Jack Flaherty with a soft matchup against the Tigers. He's 9-6. Chase or fade, Flaherty is the highest scoring pitcher tonight. Paul.
I like the case for Flaherty tonight. He's 7-1 with a .94 whip in his last 10 starts, along with a 189 opposing batting average. You mentioned the soft opponent. He's also struck out 64 batters while walking only 15 in that stretch. He faces that Tigers offense that has really had trouble scoring recently. And don't forget, they won't have the DH on the road in St. Louis. And that's a major disadvantage and disruption to AL offenses that I factor into interleague matchups when the AL team's on the road. They need to really change things up for only 9 games every year, and it doesn't feel right, I'm sure, to a lot of the teams. And I'm sure the records will show over time that it's a losing proposition for those teams in that situation. I say definitely get on this train and pick Flaherty as your starting pitcher. He's going to come up big.
Matty, Jack Flaherty will be the highest scoring pitcher tonight. Chase or fade that?
I think there's a decent chance of it. Flaherty and Corbin Burnes, to me, seem to be in a class of their own as far as upside for pitchers on the slate. And it's also a night where we have a ton of games and it's easy to fit in some cheaper bats. So even playing Burnes with Flaherty, I think is going to be a pretty easy thing to do. Flaherty gets the Tigers at home. They're losing the DH in the National League. And I think from any statistical standpoint, he just seems like an obvious call. So the reason to not play him would be in tournaments for an ownership reason. But for cash games, I think he's an absolute lock. So he seems like an easy call. And even in tournaments, maybe you just differentiate elsewhere and still just play Flaherty, because I do think he's the safest pitcher to play for his price.